Round 2, Game 2 of the 2025 Six Nations took us to the Allianz Stadium, formerly known as Twickenham. Hosts England welcomed opponents France to this part of London with wet weather akin to Agincourt. Much like that battle, it was conducted in an error-strewn manner by the French, who were met with a ferocity and energy by the English 15, who triumphed 26 points to 25 at the end. Steve Borthwick from the English coaching box timed his second half substitutes to perfection, much like those archers entering that bloody melee all those years ago. They brought a vim and a vigour that the French struggled to match. Fabien Galtier's men led well in the first half, allowing wet balls to stop them notching up an insurmountable early score before the renowned defence of French coach Sean Edwards failed to halt the English counter-attacks later in the game. Despite late scores from both sides, the home side won, taking all 5 points for the win and the try bonus point, leaving France heading for the first train home under the Channel with a sole losing bonus point for comfort. Rejoice for England, heartbreak for France, solace for both, as this game could have gone either way. Quite an incredible game, let's be honest. I mean, where'd you start? The late scores, Finn Smith taking over the kicking from Marcus Smith, Thomas Ramos failing to make his, Antoine Dupont dropping a ball. You know, Lord only knows how many other mistakes he's made. Probably count them on one hand. Sean Edwards' defence letting in 4 tries. You know, so many things to think about, so many things where the game could have changed. But there's one key fact that pointed out for me if you look at the statistics. 27 handling errors made by France. Just incredible. Like, just dropping the ball, not necessarily knock-ons, but just spills, tap-backs, all the rest of it. They just made the right plays at the right time in the first half. They were able to get around the edge of the English defence, around Sightholm, around Freeman. They're getting to the edge, and they just couldn't finish. You know, as I said, just showed by that Dupont one. I mean, if they'd pulled a few of those tries off, the pressure really would have been on England. Twickenham wouldn't have been with them. They'd have been thinking, oh, let's get rid of Borthwick. We're not going to cheer for them today. And it could have gone very differently, especially for all those forwards coming on for England who did make a huge difference. Coming on when they were losing, if you were losing by 3 scores or something versus the tight game that it was. Would Finn Baxter have taken that one on the chin from Antonio at the scrum and then picked up, won a scrum penalty later on against the French replacement? Because not long, literally minutes after that scrum penalty, Antonio was pulled off bizarrely. Keep him on if he's doing well. Yeah, he might get tired, but, you know, let him run that Finn Baxter guy down, especially in a wet day. Make him move 140 kilos in the scrum. You know, it was just Chesham wouldn't have absolutely smashed into people. It was just completely different that France couldn't pull away in the beginning in that first half. I think it was down to those handling errors, just not playing to the... I was about to say playing to the conditions, but, you know, they kicked as they normally do. Marcus Smith, he generally fielded them quite well. So whilst France made mistakes, England capitalised them. It's not often that the ball was hitting grass and running away and spilling. And then it was the same when Marcus Smith kicked it back. He wasn't finding grass either. So France were then getting the counter-attack. And then it was just in the middle, just trying to play a bit too much, perhaps. I mean, maybe they're thinking, oh, we don't have the biggest forwards that we've had. You know, someone like Cameron Walkie, what difference could he have made today? But you've still got Aldrit. You've still got Antonio, as I said. You've still got a ton of others. Just having a quick look through the starting 15s here. But hey, hardly small. Francois Crowe, enormous. Meafu, a giant man. Rumat, you know, again, 2 games in a row, not entirely great, but they obviously see something in him, and you've got to learn somewhere. I mean, for me, you'd be looking for Posolo Tuilagi if he's fit. Yeah, just one of those French games where it hasn't quite come off for them. But at the same time, they gave England a chance, and then England snapped and took it. Just people like Ollie Chessing coming on, absolutely monstrous, just laying into people, taking the ball hard. Tom Willis thought he had a decent game until we went off. And then Ben Earl, with a bit more space in the second half, really starting to play into his strengths, where he gets a couple of meters to run up and build a head of steam. Mitchell was obviously good, and Borthwick was happy for him because he didn't get substituted. If you look down the list, France put everyone on apart from Gaeton, which they probably would have done, but they had to put Dupont to fly half in order to accommodate Jalibert going off. So at that point, they probably didn't want to change the centres too much. Whereas Steve Borthwick and England left Cunningham South on the bench, left Randall on the bench. Elliot Daly came on at 76. Great carry as well. Those 4 minutes really tight, helped close it out. That was a good call, just putting that experience on. He knows how to win. As I said, France found space on the outside, but just couldn't finish it off. It was that killer instinct, that little extra edge that they've had, where they've just been able to put scores away and then the match away. It just wasn't quite there. Finn Smith had a good game. I mean, stepping in, all that pressure. Oh, Marcus Smith, you've kicked him out, but he's still there. He's still at fullback. He could step in at any time. He just took it in his stride, just went, I'm here, I'm 10, this is it. He's my 15, I trust him. Played to the conditions, kept England in the right places. Generally good all round. I mean, if you're trusted to take over from the usual kicker, you're doing something right. Downsides for England, the line-out. It's wet. And as I said, France had their spills, 27 of them. England weren't too much better. I think it was 12. But to lose that many in the line-out as well and just give the ball back to France cheaply, that will be killing Steve Borthwick. But scrum even either way. I think it was a couple of penalties each, if that. Let's have a look. One scrum lost by England, so there would be that one against Finn Baxter. Penalties are a bit different, but generally evenly matched, which, given the size of the French pack, is impressive. In the second row, Maro Toge's done his thing as captain, impressive. Good, refs had nothing bad to say against him. He's asked the right questions at the right time, grown into the role. So let's see what 2 weeks' time brings. Let's see what 2 weeks for the French to regroup brings. Let's see if 2 weeks lets England get it into their head that they are the world's best team. They've got to, realise that they played well, took the win from France, but a lot of the problems they have had are still there. The set piece is not a weapon. They held their own at the scrum, but the line-out failed. Breakdown, people were in pilfering. Another ref could easily give penalties against. You've played to the conditions and won. Well done, but you've got to keep building on it, make sure that the next one is good. Who else was good? Let's have a look back through. Starting front row, Ellis Genge, a couple of good carries. Will Stewart just holding it up against Grohl, so nobody got any change out of either side of the front rows. Itoje and Martin, good. Curry, Earl and Willis, so good as well. Tom Curry just getting in on the breakdown. Slight Home and Freeman, generally good on the wings. On another day, France would have just got outside of them and ripped them apart, and everyone would be saying, why are they starting? But they'll learn. Probably a good way for them to learn today as well. Marcus Smith, international standard fullback. What else can you say? Had fielded kicks, got under them, made sure they didn't hit the grass too much, kicked back competitively. Couple where it was a bit long, but given how wet and greasy it is, it's not too bad. Henry Slade, decent all-round game as well. Oliver Lawrence, Bofana and Barassi didn't get too much room in the centres, so they did a good job. Then you move on to the substitutes who came on. Finn Baxter, everyone will be talking about him. Come on, get humbled by Antonio. Next scrum after Antonio has gone off, remember? Important fact then. Different playing against Antonio versus Georges-Henri Collomb. Still a big man, but not as enormous. And then getting that try at the end, and the way he jogs back, just, he's not celebrating, he's not pumping the air, he's not thinking, oh, that's it, one. He's jogging back saying, that was good, job to do, game's not over. Chesham, just an enormous man. They should just put him on at the beginning and let him loose, as far as I'm concerned. Chandler Cunningham South will be pissed, to be honest, if you excuse the language, not to have got on and just been let loose. Ben Curry, we know what he does. Let him on 25 minutes, fresh legs. Yeah, go run it out. Elliot Daly, all that experience. Harry Randall as well. When Mitchell's played that well, he's not tiring and he's kept that momentum with the English pack and kept the ball for Finn Baxter, that combination they've got from their club at Northampton where they play together, week in, week out throughout the season. Understandable why he wasn't substituted. You'd be annoyed if you were Randall and didn't get on the pitch. I think any substitute is annoyed if they don't get on the pitch, especially in a game like that where it's a closely fought win. Oh, French team. Ramos, yeah. Like Marcus Smith, didn't let the ball hit the ground too much. Good counter-attacks, good kicks. Off the tee, aiming at goal, whether it was conversions or penalties. Off day. It happens. It sucks. He'll beat himself up about it that he left at least, 2 points out there. But that's him personally. You can't blame it all on that. If you've got 27 handling errors in your team, you can't go around blaming the kicker. Damien Penaud, generally all right. But everyone there, you'll be saying, drop the ball. And people will focus on that statistic for France. But England dropped it 12 times too. Don't forget that. Bofana and Barassi, solid. Couple of little things from Bofana. Kept the English centres quiet, kind of neutered each other, stopped too much coming through the centre. BLBRA, he's always live wire. He's always got that pace. He's always going to try and chase. Is it Ben Earl who got back in front of him and slapped the ball down, stop him getting a try? That just showed the desire that was in England today to win, to not, they've been reminded in private that they lost 50 odd points 2 years ago at home. Was it 53-7, 53-3, something along those lines? Just an enormous defeat for anyone, let alone England, at their home against France. That will have been in their minds. So every little inch, like that Ben Earl chasing back to slap the ball down, ground it in his own try line before BLBRA, that's where that motivation all came from. Jalibert, conditions probably not the best for him, but he didn't do anything too crazy. Had a couple of little chips and dinks at times that didn't quite come off, and then just shows they're a bit light on fly half cover at the moment. France, he's going off, and then you're putting Antoine Dupont to fly half. Yes, he's played there for Toulouse. Yes, we all know he's played centre. Everyone keeps telling us, but his best position is scrum half. And while he has the form, and he's at this time in his career where he can do no wrong, apart from today where he dropped the ball, you want him at scrum half. He was specifically taken off last week against Wales early in the second half because the game was won and they wanted to wrap him in cotton wool. So they'll be annoyed that they couldn't get him at scrum half for the rest of the game. Audrey, he is just world class every game. One of those guys who just will not give up, will not drop his performance. I think if you gave every coach of a club team who, unlimited budget, everyone will say yes to come to you. I think there would be 3 players you would pick for me: Peter Steph Toit, Antoine Dupont, and then Aldrit would be there as well. He's just immense. All that unseen work, hard carries, good hands. Obviously got a good rapport going with his 9, with his second rows in front in the scrum. Can jump as well. He's just all round excellent. Rest of the back row, Francois Kroll, Boudin, just decent as well. You had Guillard coming on and Jegu, big men, but they looked a little bit lighter, a little bit leaner. And I felt the French replacements versus the English replacements were not as strong. That timing of Steve Borthwick's replacements versus France with either Sean Edwards or Fabien Galtier, or the decision between them, throwing them all on, well, the whole front row at 57 minutes, and then, the rest a little bit before, a little bit after. I don't think it went quite well. Take Antonio, as I've said a couple of times already, wins the penalty against Finn Baxter, come on, humbles the young man. You keep him on, And then the next scrums, the next set pieces, line outs are around the park. And Baxter will be thinking, he's just humbled me in front of 80,000 people plus a few million on TV. Maybe he wouldn't have that clarity to push for the line. We don't know. But certainly, I think Antonio could have gone a little bit more. Colom, who replaced him, is by no means a bad player, though. Just maybe not his night. Marchand came on. Cyril Bay came on. Decent as well. Replaced Movaka. Jean-Baptiste Gros. Movaka, but, offload at the back, or was it Miaf at one of the two? Just, yeah, bit of a mess, but I think a try came from that as well. Gaeton, as I said, not used because who would you take off and where would you slot him in and why? Barassi, maybe just get a bit of fresh pace, but at that point, they were still in front. They were just trying to see off the game. Le Garec, yeah, okay. Obviously, Dupont pushed out. Otherwise, he would probably not be getting on, but he is a good player, just not Dupont. Overall, if that had gone either way, it would have been fair. France not having put the game to bed in the first half, it was anyone's for the taking. I mean, to let it go into the last 10 minutes, it was nail-biting, it was intense, it was everything you want in a test match. I don't think people tuned out, switched off, or went to the pub. There was the bar, not the pub. They were sat there watching, and you could hear in Twickenham that last 10 minutes, they were really picking up. So something was going well. Just all-round good fun. I don't think it's the end for France, and I don't think that's all the problems solved for England. Both got their issues to solve. France depth at fly half. Hopefully they can get Ntamak back for the next one because he just works well with Dupont. And then obviously then you'd get Jalibert to sit on the bench. Ramos, it's an off day for kicking. Those things happen. And England, someone else is going to take advantage of that set piece against them. So things to work on for both, positives for both. Overall, really good fun. So yeah, if you made it this far, thank you very much. Please like, subscribe, all the rest of it. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you tomorrow at the least for After Scotland, Italy. Goodbye.